Good evening, this is Atmospheric Alex here with a tropical weather outlook and discussion here. Yet again, I didn't really expect this to happen again, but here we are talking about Tropical Storm Chantal that is forming down near South Carolina and North Carolina. And I hope I pronounced that name correctly. I was going to look before the video started, but I didn't exactly have time to do so. Before we get started with everything, I want to talk about this very significant flash flooding event that happened near San Antonio and Kerrville yesterday morning. The amount of rain that fell in that area was absolutely absurd. I'll tell you, we're talking about 4 months worth of rain in just a 6-hour time period. You're probably wondering, well, how did this all occur? Well, you can see it here. Look at all these red colors, all these supercells that blew up and all congealed into one area here. Look at this. We were talking about a tropical system right here that developed. Yes, literally a tropical depression, even a tropical storm formed on land. This was an exceptionally rare event that I have never seen tracking weather or never even thought to look into the archives for, because I don't know if this has ever happened. This is crazy. You can see the spin on radar there of your precipitation. And speaking of spin, we're taking a look at Tropical Storm Chantal here from cyclonicweather.com here, and look at that spinach. That is incredible there. But I would like to note that your deepest convection over here, showers and thunderstorms, are way off to your northeast. We're talking about quite a bit of wind shear that is impeding on this system right now coming out of the southwest, which is really causing things to be disorganized. And this was supposed to halt development entirely. That's what we thought 4 days ago. This thing pulled off a miracle and survived through all that, but definitely a very photogenic system here. You can see it on radar as well, a few lightning strikes. We're doing this to take a look at our cone of uncertainty, and I hope you can see this well enough. But we are talking about this thing tracking right into South Carolina here, into more of the northern portions of it, and then even tracking into North Carolina towards the end of the weekend here. So we are expecting landfall, I'd say around 2 to 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, where we could be talking about winds sustained at 40 to 45 miles an hour, with gusts upwards of 65 miles an hour, heavy rainfall. We're talking about maybe some minor storm surge and flash flooding. Definitely is going to be a concern across those areas. Could even rule out a stray tornado as well. And luckily, the National Hurricane Center provides all this information for us on the key messages. So tropical storm conditions are expected in the warning area beginning this evening and continuing through Sunday morning, tomorrow morning basically. Heavy rainfall across portions of the Carolinas will cause flash flooding concerns through Monday, especially in urban areas. That's what we're watching out for. Chantal is expected to bring life-threatening surf and rip currents. Again, rip currents, that's something we don't really talk about a lot. That should be talked about more. So it is important to not go in the waters because it could pull you out to sea with the type of wind that we could be seeing and the underlying currents associated with this system. And it will be occurring along the coast from northeastern Florida to the mid-Atlantic states during next day or so. Beachgoers should heed the advice of lifeguards and local officials, what I was just saying. And you can see our slight risk of flash flooding down here all the way through Monday. But this storm will bring a unique impact. We are talking about a marginal 1 out of 5 risk for severe weather here as far as it goes here for portions of northern South Carolina and even going into southeastern North Carolina here going into tomorrow. The main risk for tomorrow will be the risk of an isolated tornado or two, and that will be a very fast and brief spin-up tornado potential. Let's go ahead and take a look at some timings here from our HRRR model. It's not a tropical model, but this is a weak system, so it'll be able to depict it very well. As we go on into the overnight hours tonight, you can see the model does want landfall, like I said, around 1 to 3 a.m. tomorrow morning, and you can see some of your thunderstorms that do begin to make it onshore here, and we could potentially see a tornado risk with those, like we see this bean right down here. That looks a little more supercellular in nature. And, these showers and storms really continue making their way onshore here. Gusty winds, maybe even damaging along the coastline here. And maybe even, again, your tornado risk is possible. You can definitely see these supercells here in the outer banks. That looks very interesting. As we continue looking at our model here, as we go into tomorrow late morning and early afternoon, you see some daytime heating that begins to be going on here. I can't speak today, my goodness. We are talking about some isolated strong storms, maybe even a couple supercells in there, potentially producing tornadoes. That's something to watch out for. You might want to turn your emergency alerts on your phone and maybe even turn on your weather radios as well. I'm not expecting much, but a tornado is a tornado, no matter how small, no matter how intense. It is important to be able to get alerts. And very heavy rainfall as well along that axis where your main low pressure system will be tracking, kind of like this. We're going to have to watch for that. Now, how much wind could you see out of this system? Well, we're going to take a look here. Look at this going on into tonight here. We have a couple of outer bands that, believe it or not, make it on shore. And you can see here gusts in between really 50 to as high as nearly 70 miles an hour are possible. So damaging winds are possible, not likely, but we could be talking about some damage along your coastal areas. When it makes landfall, there's a lot more weakening that commences and just scattered 20 to 30 mile an hour gusts across the rest of the area inland. How much rainfall could we see out of this system? Well, as it makes landfall, we could see between 2 to even 5 inches of rain here in northern South Carolina. We're not talking about too much of a serious impact, but really just enough to get things going. And I'm pretty sure even areas near Myrtle Beach as well will be seeing quite a bit of rain. And going inland here, this little consolidated area here, we're going to be talking about thunderstorms converging along an axis, could see, look at this here, upwards of 6 to potentially even 9 inches of rain. Goodness, yeah, we really hope that doesn't happen, because that would definitely lead to some more significant flooding concerns across the Raleigh-Durham area. Could especially be talking about some very heavy rainfall and severe weather, and then that pushes on through. Look it up here as well into portions of the mid-Atlantic here. 2 to even 6 to 7 inches in isolated areas, so isolated flash flooding will happen. Now, I kind of feel like cutting this video a little bit short here. There really wasn't too much to talk about. It's only a tropical storm, but still, just because this was a short and not as detailed video doesn't mean you shouldn't be taking it seriously, There are other impacts besides wind, okay? Flooding is pretty much the main killer out of these systems here, so you just need to be very careful, and especially rip currents as well that may develop along the coastline that could drag you out to sea and drown you alive. Yeah, that doesn't sound too good, does it? So hopefully you take your precautions with Chantal here. But anyways, we're going to look at our European model. Why are we doing this? Severe weather is coming back again. Goodness gracious, could it leave already? I guess not. Well, we're going to be talking about some concerns here across your northern plains. We do have that enhanced risk. I won't really be going over it much. This is a tropical weather upload, but some storm energy possible there. As we move on through into tomorrow, more appreciable amounts here between 2,000 to 3,000 Cape. And this really continues to build throughout the week. And you could just see this here later on into next week, 4,000 to 5,000 Cape across your northern plains. Again, tornadoes, damaging winds, very large hail uppers, even 4 inches in diameter, are possible, if not likely, going into next week. Could we even see an isolated strong tornado? Yeah, I certainly cannot rule that out either with a pattern like this. And definitely look at this here. You could see storm complexes fire across the Midwest and do a little something like this as they push on off to the southeast. I've been honking my horn about this all spring and summer, that we would probably see a pattern similar to that develop soon. And you could see the way your wind is going, it kind of goes like this. So if any systems form, we're going to have to watch that closely. And so some significant severe weather days are certainly possible, really throughout much of mid-July, going even into late July. Really need to monitor the forecasts, the models, and everything in between. And with that being said, that's going to do it with today's video. I really hope you enjoyed, and you'll especially enjoy this satellite loop. It is so mesmerizing to stare at stuff like this. As a very passionate weather enthusiast, this just makes me happy, seeing this swirl right here and just seeing it getting tossed all around by your lower level wind shear and stuff like that. Really cool stuff. All right, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to my little corner of the weather community, and share this video with friends, family on social media so they can stay informed about Chantal, which is coming right up here over the next couple of days. across your southeast coast. Now, that said, stay tropical and severe weather aware over the next few days, especially severe weather aware over the next potentially month at this point, because it's not going to end anytime soon. All right, have a wonderful night, everyone.